Hello, this is teddygaming and welcome back to a review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Tales of a TMNT Volume 2, Issue number 1. So yeah, I must admit, I'm quite excited to get into this series, just because I never really got into this series so much. I mean, I got into about 14 issues, and then I planned to read a bit more, but then I never did. And from what I did read, I really did enjoy this series, and it's one which I don't want to get back into again, because I do feel still that the Tales, like TMNT stuff, is always so fun to read, just because, you know, it's just one-off adventures which sort of do take place in canon timeline and stuff like that, and is, you know, is like somewhat important, but also at the same time, just fun one-off adventures, which I do enjoy and all that. Now, this issue is one which I do find interesting, just due to how the story is written, and also with the things that take place in our timeline, that makes sense, in terms of what went down on like the TV screens at our time, and also what the story was actually about in this issue, because I do find it really interesting with how things were done in this issue, and how things were on the 2003 TMNT show. Okay, so for this story, it is called Not Forgotten, and this story starts off with the Turtles reading a old book and they're going over the history of, I think it's like America or something like that, and going over how people like turn up to America and try to take the land or something like that. I'm not entirely too sure. I got a little bit bored and lost with Donatello's stories about the old times and stuff like that, but I thought it was good enough to include in there, but a little bit boring, I won't lie. But then after that, we do get to see the Turtles accidentally find a map in the old book, and I don't understand how they didn't find the map in the first place. You would expect them to find that, but somehow they didn't. So then they decide to go off and actually explore the tunnels and the sewers and stuff like that. And again, it's a really interesting thing, just because this was like take place when the Turtles were like 12 and stuff like that. So this is going to be easily in like the, I want to say the 70s maybe, or maybe even the late 60s maybe, depending on like the timeline and stuff and all that for this universe. And also, this is also the first time Master Splinter is going to be letting the Turtles go out to explore the tunnels themselves, which is unique, because up to this point, I think it was like this was the first time we got to see this. But like since then, we've had like the 2012 show come out, so I do find that to be really interesting to see that like it's happened here. But yeah, I don't know where I'm really going at this point, but I find it a bit interesting. So after this, we do get to see the Turtles going off to explore the tunnels, and I do find it to be really interesting, just because here's where I found like a lot of similarities with this story and the episodes or story arc from season 1, the Notes from the Underground. And we do get to see in here, we do get to see the Turtles going off and explore like loads of different places. We get to see them explore a place where it had like loads of trains. We get to see them explore a bit where there's like loads of bricks and stuff like that. We get to see them do like a campfire scene, which I thought was kind of cool. And then weirdly enough, we do get to see them accidentally come across dinosaur tracks, and I just don't know what to really say about that. Just because I don't know, there was like some things up for the stuff for the Volume 4 stuff with the dinosaurs and stuff like that with the Donatello storyline, but I'm not entirely too sure. But either way, I thought that was weird but interesting. And here, like I said before, like this is where I found like a lot of similarities between the like Notes from an Underground episode and this story, and I do find it pretty interesting, just because I would have thought that like this whole story will come up before the Notes from the Underground story arc, but it actually didn't. Just because this story came out a year after the Notes from the Underground episode came out on TV. But the Notes on the Ground episode probably was written in 2002, so I do find it to be like really interesting that it took them so long to create another like comic book run for Turtles in the early 2000s, and then like do a story that's based off an episode, and do like very similar in a way. And I do find it really interesting, and all the similarities and differences is so really interesting and fascinating, and it's something which I would like them to explore a lot more in terms of like the world for the Turtles. And I do find, like, you know, like the history and the lore within the universe is also really interesting, fascinating. So I do find this bit here to be like so great and amazing, just because it just leaves you like wondering so many questions about the universe and what could have happened and what could not have happened. And I do guess that's what's like so great about this like Tales of TMNT comic. It's just because we can explore like these one-off adventures that don't really mean too much, but you know, if you read stories, then it's pretty cool. But yeah, I just find it really interesting and fascinating, and behind all like this stuff and all, I don't know, it's cool. So then after that we do get to see the turtles, so they do go off, and that's when I do find a cave where they do have some water that's basically poisonous, but somehow the turtles live and survive and just go through it and, you know, find fish and find turtles. So I don't know how poisonous it really can be, but either way, we do get to see some new creatures. They're like these worm creature guy things. They come out of the water and start to attack the turtles. And they did give me a little vibes from the episode, the Silent Age, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I know for like the whole episode was based off no comic, but I wouldn't be too surprised. Maybe they'll send things up for like a future episode for the Tales show at the time, or maybe doing something like that. Or I don't know. I think like maybe there was some inspiration from those characters. But either way, I do find it to be pretty cool here. Now here we do get to see the turtles all fighting them, but we do get to see Don, he's using the water to try and basically make it pure and see what's like basically making these creatures like be so weak and sickly and stuff like that. And that's when he comes up with the bright idea of basically the water is killing them. So it gives them some devices to use it, and then, you know, the water will be good for them. And then after that, he says to his brothers, like, basically, oh yeah, we can come back one day, like, maybe in a few months or something like that, and see how the world doing. And then I like his honesty that even in the issue, he says basically they never did, and he did like ask a lot of really good questions about like those creatures, if maybe like stuff that were doing to them was actually good for them or bad for them or stuff like that. And I do find that the questions he was asking was really interesting ones. So yeah. Now, I must admit, overall, I do really enjoy this issue because, again, like, there's a lot of similarities to Nuts on Underground episodes, and while that's not maybe my favourite story arc from that show, I think part 1 is possibly one of my favourite episodes from that entire show. I don't know why. So, I did enjoy this issue a lot because of the exploring, the history, the lore for this universe and stuff like that, which I did really enjoy. And there was also a lot of stuff which I did really enjoy about this issue. The artwork was really great and stuff like that. I don't think I have any real like negatives about this issue. I think the only negatives which I do have is the fact that when Donatello's like talking about the stuff from like the old days, from like the 1500s, 1800s and stuff like that, that's when things get a little bit boring. But other than that, it was a pretty decent comic. And also another problem which I do have, which is not really a big one, but I think could have improved things a lot, was the fact that this issue was in black and white, which I do dislike because, you know, I do feel as though the card does like give a lot more to the comic. But, you know, other than that, it was okay. But I do feel as though like they did like lose a lot of impactful moments or stuff that could have been a lot better. But other than that, it is what it is. But, you know, it's okay, I guess. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this issue. Do you like one? Do you not? And yeah, that's game for today, guys. If there's one, please share, let's subscribe and all stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.